It is important to check your blood pressure regularly to avoid complications. There are a variety of blood pressure machines available. First, we are going to discuss a manual arm blood pressure cuff. Then we will discuss an automatic arm blood pressure cuff. And lastly, we will explain an automatic wrist monitor. Every machine is different, so it is important that you read the instructions that came with your device. Before you take the blood pressure reading, you should rest for at least 5 minutes. You want to avoid the intake of caffeine or nicotine for at least 30 minutes prior to the blood pressure reading. For accurate results, you want to keep your feet flat on the floor. You want to sit still and avoid talking. Now we will discuss a manual blood pressure cuff. Stretch out your arm and position it at your heart level with your palm facing up. You want to expose the upper arm fully. Do not place the cuff over clothing. The side of the cuff that should be in direct contact with the skin is labeled "this side against limb." Place the inflatable cuff around your arm about 1 inch above your elbow. Make sure the cuff is securely fastened around your arm. Securely fasten the gauge as shown here. Next, position the stethoscope so that the earpieces are pointing away from you. Then place the stethoscope into your ears as shown here. You can tap the diaphragm of the stethoscope to make sure that it is placed correctly in your ears. Then, place the diaphragm of the stethoscope at the bend of your elbow and tuck it underneath the cuff. Next, lock the valve by spinning it all the way to the right. Then, squeeze the bulb to inflate the cuff. Continue to inflate the cuff until you reach about 30 units above the estimated systolic pressure. After that, you can deflate the cuff by slowly spinning the dial to the left. Make sure the needle on the blood pressure gauge moves at about 2 increments per second. When you hear the first sound, note the number on the gauge. This is your systolic blood pressure. Continue to deflate the cuff gradually. Note the number where you last hear the sound. This is your diastolic blood pressure. Finally, you can deflate the cuff completely and remove it from your arm. Now we will move on to an automatic arm blood pressure cuff. Open the arm cuff so that you may place your arm through it. Position the cuff about 1 inch above the elbow. Pull the end of the cuff so that it tightens evenly around your arm. The symbols shown here should line up with the middle of your arm. You can then press the Start/Stop button to power on the machine. After about 3 seconds, the display will read 00. This indicates that the monitor is ready to measure. Using your hand that does not have the cuff on your arm, squeeze the inflation bulb and continue pumping until a down arrow appears. You should then wait as the cuff automatically deflates. If at any time you wish to stop the blood pressure reading, you can press the Start/Stop button. When the measurement is complete, the cuff will deflate entirely. The screen will then read your systolic pressure, your diastolic pressure, and your heart rate. You can now remove the cuff from the arm. The last device we will explain is an automatic wrist blood pressure cuff. Start by applying the cuff to your wrist with your palm facing the device. Make sure the edge of the cuff is about a ½ inch from the palm. Press the Start/Stop button to start the reading. The monitor will automatically inflate the cuff and begin the measurement. Stay still during this time. You will notice the cuff slowly deflate. Wait until the cuff deflates entirely. When the reading is finished, you will see the results appear on the screen. The screen will read your systolic pressure, your diastolic pressure, and your heart rate. Your systolic pressure is the top number reported in the blood pressure reading. This is the pressure in your blood vessels when your heart contracts. The diastolic pressure is the bottom number in the reading. This is the blood pressure in your vessels when your heart relaxes. Your ideal blood pressure is less than 120/80. A blood pressure greater than 140/90 is considered high. If you ever take your blood pressure and have a systolic pressure greater than 210 or a diastolic pressure greater than 120, you should seek medical attention immediately.